Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my home studio. This is our Tuesday morning slow flow. So if this is your first time joining us, my name is Annie from MP. That's Mindful Palette Movement Practitioner and Milwaukee Proud. So I'm grateful to bring you these classes in conjunction with the Milwaukee Rec Department. So in this slow flow class, if you haven't been here yet, it's if you've heard of like a hatha flow, it's kind of a beginner to just above beginner level flow, but it's a little bit slower. We do focus on our breath, of course, but I also like to incorporate some core work, so there will be a good bit of that. You can always, I always recommend that you take it at your own pace. This is your practice. So if you want to add that core work with me, go ahead and take that. If you want to go even further with it, you can do that. So those are always options, but I'll give you some modifications and give you ways to kind of know how you can bring it to your level or whatever that may be today. So again, always bringing ourselves right here today and not comparing ourselves to where we were a month ago, last year, or where we're hoping to be. What do you need right now? So taking a moment to find some gratitude this morning. I'm grateful to see sunshine out there today. I haven't really gotten outside too much, a little bit of a walk, but hoping to get out and enjoy that sunshine. So I'm grateful for that today. So welcome to our slow flow. We're going to start on our backs in supported fish. If you have yoga blocks or some kind of a pillow or a bolster, go ahead and take a moment and find those. We may also use a yoga strap or a tie or a belt. So I like to offer those to you to have them on hand or nearby. And if you're doing these practices with me on a regular basis, maybe you just keep them in the area where you have your yoga mat. So we'll start in a supported fish, which is going to be a little bit of a chest opener this morning. So if you haven't tried supported fish before, we put one block under the head and one under the upper back. So you can try them at the same level on the lowest. You might have one higher or lower. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. And again, it might be different than what you needed the last time that we did this. So you decide where you are today and we'll go from there. So once you find where you think you want those blocks, and I like the one under the upper back to be across the shoulder blade. Some people like it down the spine. So just laying myself onto those blocks, feeling like I'm okay right here, and then allowing that chest to open, that heart to begin to open. Letting my legs just kind of feel heavy, letting those feet just kind of fall open, and letting those arms open up as well. So once you arrive, just find your body sinking into that mat. Try to find a sense of gratitude for bringing yourself here this morning, for showing up for yourself. That is the hardest part, not just these days with being kind of cooped up perhaps, but every day it can be hard to show up. So thank yourself for making that choice. Start to notice your breath. Notice if there's any place you can release tension. Do you feel like you're holding something in your shoulders or your back or your glutes? Just release that, maybe on an exhalation. Notice that cadence of your breath, following it gently in and out of the body. Maybe trying to lengthen or deepen that breath with each round. And I invite you to set an intention here for your practice today. What is it that you need right now, this morning, on this Tuesday? Take one more round of breath. And then we'll slowly begin to bring ourselves off of those blocks. So start to press into those hands, gently lift the head. Maybe you keep your eyes closed as you remove those blocks and just bring them off to the side, gently laying yourself back down. Bringing those hands to the belly. And let's just take some even inhalations and exhalations. Samavriti, equal breath. So take a breath in, maybe you find a certain count. Let that breath rise all the way to the top of your head. Notice the pause at the top, and then exhale, let it descend to the base of the spine. Same number of counts. Notice the pause, and then the next inhalation. Take one more breath here. At your own pace. And then when you're ready, we bring those arms and legs to stretch in opposite directions. So we took a little bit of a back bend in that supported fish. So completing our spinal warm-up, or continuing with our spinal warm-up rather, here we're extending the spine. So I'm just rolling my wrists a little bit, rolling those ankles, just kind of waking up the body a little bit more. Inhale, and then I'm taking that over to the left side. I'm exhaling those arms overhead. Shoulders and hips are staying on the mat, so I'm just taking a lateral bend. Maybe you bring your left hand to grasp the right wrist and gently pull that across or hook that right ankle over the left. Breath into the center, and then exhale, take that to the other side. So hands and feet go in the same direction. Think about if you could meet them in a circle. That right hand might grasp the left wrist. You might take that left ankle across the right foot. Noticing that stretch through the left side body, stretching all those little muscles between the ribs, those intercostal muscles, creating space for breath. Inhale back to center here. And then we'll hug those knees in. Maybe you bring your chin up to those knees. Give them a hug. You can even wrap your arms around those knees. Drop that head, relax the shoulders. Place those feet on the earth for just a moment so that we can lift and shift hips to the right. Bring those knees back into the chest and then drop them over to the left. So again, warming up the spine. We bent our backs. We extended. We took that side bend. Here's our twist. Inhale back to center. We'll place those feet down just so we can lift and shift hips to the left. Bring those knees back in. And then over to the other side. I'm taking the gaze away from my knees. Thinking about that long line from my left shoulder all the way down to that hip, finding that diagonal, or even thinking about going over to those knees with that diagonal stretch. Back to center. And we'll center those hips here. And then gently bring those feet up to the sky. Just point and flex those feet here. Maybe you want to roll the ankles a little bit more. Press those heels to the sky. Start to notice that stretch in those hamstrings maybe, or in the quadriceps, in the upper legs. And then you might reach up towards those toes, thinking of this as our forward fold. I'm tucking my chin slightly so I'm looking towards my knees. Reaching up towards those toes. Maybe you feel some core engagement already. And then slowly relax. Let's let those hands rest on the earth. Maybe placing them under the backside and moving into some leg lowering and lifting. So take a breath in. Exhale. Flex those feet. Lower those legs slowly. And maybe you hover those feet above the mat a few inches, pressing that lower back into the earth. Inhale, bring those pointed toes back up to the sky. Exhale, flex the feet and slowly lower down. Hovering those feet if you choose. And inhale those feet up to the sky. Let's gently bring those knees back in. We'll widen those knees and work them around. Just start to open up those hips a little bit. Make some circles. Maybe take those knees together and go around in both directions. And then place those feet on the earth, centered hips. I invite you to bring that right foot to cross over the left leg just above the knee. You might have your strap or belt or tie handy here. So moving into eye of the needle. So I invite you to press that right knee gently away from the body, noticing that hip opener on the right. And release. And here you might thread your fingers together around that left thigh, or you might take that strap or tie, whatever you have, and thread it around that thigh. I like to use the strap because it gives me a little bit more length so I can relax my shoulder blades onto my mat. It also allows me that extra hand to press that knee away. So now I'm pulling my left foot off the earth, pulling that thigh towards me, noticing that stretch through my right hip. Again, you can continue to actually press that right knee away, or maybe you just energetically press it away, or if you have those fingers threaded together, you can sort of use that right elbow. So option here to stretch that left leg up to the sky. Keep the right foot flexed to protect that knee, and it's just below that left knee. Reaching that left heel up to the sky, pulling that leg a little closer to the body, relaxing those shoulders, noticing the breath, maybe even returning to your intention already at this point in the practice. Again, you can be using that strap or your hands. And then if you straighten that leg, we'll bend it and release. Before we move to the other side, I invite you to bring those hands down beside the hips. Take a breath in and press those hips up to the sky, letting that right knee drop open towards the earth. So opening the hips, maybe you find strength through the legs, stretching the lower back, strengthening the lower back, which is also part of our core. And then lower down here. We'll uncross the legs, bring those feet as wide as the mat, and just swish back and forth. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that left foot to cross over the right leg, just above the knee. Gently press that left knee away from the body. Breathing here, opening that left hip. And then you choose whether you want to thread that strap around the right thigh or make that basket with those hands. And start to pull that right thigh in towards the body, still sending that left knee away. Option to straighten that right leg, pressing the heel to the sky. Inhale, and then exhale, draw those toes in closer to the head. Notice your breath. One more breath in here. And then slowly lower down. Hands by the sides. Inhale as we lift those hips, letting that left knee drop away. Strong lower back. And then lowering down. We'll uncross the legs, feet as wide as the mat, and just swish those knees back and forth once again. We'll bring the knees back in, cross at the ankles, and start to gently rock up to seated. Take your time here. Take as many rocks as you need, giving yourself a little roll along that back here. So finding your way into tabletop position. I'm going to flip over here to the other side. You can do that, or you can just head right into tabletop on that side. So you get to choose how you're oriented on your mat. This isn't like in class where sometimes we feel like we need to be in the same direction as everyone else. You get to do whatever you want right now. So hands and knees. My hips are over the knees. My wrists, elbows, and shoulders are stacked. And I'm just relaxing that back. So not hunching here, just keeping that neutral back, pulling the navel into the spine. My gaze is just ahead of my hands. And I start to find my own movement here through cat-cow. So I'm dipping the belly down, breathing in as I raise the chin and the tailbone, and then exhale, sending that spine to the sky as I tuck my chin and tailbone into cat. So again, find your own movement here. Take your own pace. Maybe you look towards one hip and the other. Make some circles. And then back to that neutral tabletop, moving into our next pranayama, our next mindful breathing exercise. This is our square breath from cat-cow. So in practices earlier in this week or last week, we took square breath in cat-cow seated. So now we're on hands and knees with this same pranayama. So in your next breath, we dip that belly down into cow as we breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath, hold this pose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lift that spine to the sky. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then remain here with the breath out. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, spine to the sky. 4, 3, 2, 1. And remain. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take one more round of that square breath in cat-cow at your own pace. When you're finished, move yourself into child's pose, bringing those hips back to the heels. You can stretch those arms out long overhead if you wish. Remember, any of these pranayama, these mindful breathing exercises that I offer you, you can keep those in your toolbox and come back to them at any time. That square breath is good for finding focus or calm or center or balance. So use that as needed. You can do it from sitting, standing, lying down, hands and knees. We come back to tabletop here. Realign if needed, and then when you're ready, we stretch that right leg back, pressing through that heel, noticing that stretch through the calf or the bottom of the foot. When you're ready, you can lift that leg up just to hip height, so making sure it's not flying up, but just lifting it to hip height, equal weight through the hands. And then when you're ready, maybe you lift up that left arm. You can do this with just one arm, or just the arm, or just the leg, still getting that opportunity to balance and focus on the core. So reach through those fingers, press to that heel, get really long here, breathe in, and then exhale, draw that elbow in towards the knee. Take this at your own pace for a few rounds, really focusing on getting long and then crunching in. Stay with the breath. One more balance here. And then we'll bring that left hand down and take that right foot across the left. So stretching that right leg long across that left foot, pressing through that right heel. Maybe you take a look over that left shoulder, noticing that stretch through the right side body. Maybe you even feel it in the left hip. Back to center with that leg. And we'll tuck that knee in, realign here in our tabletop position as needed. And then when you're ready, we stretch that left leg out, pressing through that heel. Lift that leg. When you're ready, wrap that left hip towards the earth. And then you can extend that right arm out. Reach through fingers and heel. Hold that navel into the spine, taking that gaze just ahead of the hands. Breathe in, and then exhale, draw that elbow in towards the knee. Take that at your own pace for a few rounds. Quality over quantity here. So just really focus on taking your time, using your breath. Extend one more time, balancing for a breath. And we'll bring that hand down and then keep that left foot traveling across the right foot. Notice that stretch through the left side body, stretching the abdominals. Press through that heel, maybe even feeling a hip stretch through the right hip. And then back to center with that leg, and we'll tuck it in. So we're bringing those hands, so wrists, elbows, shoulders are stacked. I'm actually gonna bring them just a little bit ahead of me here, tucking the toes and moving into plank position. So you can take whatever shape of plank that you like. This is high plank. You might be on your hands, but have those knees down. If the knees are down, make sure they're behind the hips versus in our tabletop again, make sure those knees would be behind the hips. So those shoulders are over the wrists, regardless of whether we're in high plank or from the knees. You could also take a forearm plank. So we're gonna be moving down to our mat, so you don't have to spend too much time here. So wherever you are, maybe taking yourself down, knees, chest, chin, or you're shifting forward and lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. Once you arrive, take a moment to just rest that head on the hands for one breath. And then I invite you into a locust series. I'm gonna scoot back from my mat a little bit, bringing my hands flat by my sides, palms facing down. Chin is resting on the earth. Keep that chin resting there. In your next breath, we lift with the lower back as we bring those feet and those legs up. So inhale, reach through those toes, and then exhale, bring those legs a little bit higher. So my chin is stuck to the mat, and I'm using my lower back to lift those legs. One more breath, lift a little higher. Slowly lower down. For this next locust, I invite you to bring those hands to clasp behind the back, or maybe you take opposite elbows, or you even take those hands out into blades here. So whatever you've chosen, find that now. Walk those shoulder blades together in your next breath. Lift with that lower back once again. Send those knuckles back towards the heels. Lift feet, legs, shoulders, chest, head. Keep lifting up, maybe getting a little bit higher with each breath. One more breath in, slowly lower down. When we bring those arms out, if you want to try a third variation of locust, reaching those arms overhead in your next breath. Again, lift with that lower back, bring hands, arms, feet, legs off the mat, rooting through those hip bones, get a little bit higher here. One more breath in. Slowly lower down, and then send those hips back to the heels in child's pose to counter those back bends that we just took. And then we'll bring ourselves to that tabletop for just a moment, and then reaching those hands out a little bit ahead of the shoulders, tucking toes, and finding my way back to whatever version of high plank that I choose. So again, from here, take a breath or two, and then we shift forward, lower down, either knees, chest, chin, or shifting forward and lowering down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, find your way to Cobra, or maybe you take upward facing dog, knees off the mat. Maybe you're ready for this. Lower down, tuck those toes once again, and we send our hips up to the sky for downward facing dog. So just pedal this out. Explore this pose, reaching those heels down. They don't have to touch the mat. You can reach them in that direction. Really melt that heart towards the thighs. Notice that stretch through the shoulders. Your next breath in brings that right leg up to the sky. Exhale, draw it in towards the chest, crunch forward. Inhale that leg back up. Exhale, crunch it towards the same side elbow. Inhale up once again. Exhale, cross it over. Inhale up. And then let that foot come down. We come up onto the tiptoes and then shift forward into that plank again, bringing those shoulders right over those wrists. Again, you can take knees here if you wish. Holding here for a couple of breaths. And then heading down, either knees, chest, chin, or shifting forward once again, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into Cobra or upward facing dog. Whatever you are ready for at this point, lower down. And then send those hips to the sky for that downward facing dog once again. Walk it out if you wish. Maybe you want to go way up on the toes or dip those knees down.
Take any other movements that you wish. When you're ready, we inhale that left leg up to the sky. Exhale, crunch it forward to the chest. Inhale back up. Exhale to the same side elbow. Inhale up. Exhale, cross it over. Back to the sky. And all the way down. Pedal it out for a moment. If you need to take any breaks here in child's pose or tabletop, take those breaks. Up onto the tiptoes, shift forward into that plank once again. And then lowering down either knees, chest, chin, or shifting forward, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. Let's stay here. Take a moment to rest that head on the forearms. Catch your breath. Return to your intention at this point. And then when you're ready, we'll move those hands back underneath the shoulders, tuck those toes, and send those hips high once again into that downward facing dog. So we took that little break there for breaths, for intention, revisiting up onto the toes here. We shift forward again, and you can bring those knees down for a moment. We're going to come onto our forearms. So bring those arms parallel to start. Those elbows are shoulder width apart. And then clasp those hands together here. So from here, we tuck the toes. And then we send those hips back up to the sky. So it's sort of this dolphin downward dog. And then you can begin to walk those feet in towards the arms, engaging the core, keeping that head lifted off the mat. So this is actually a prep for a headstand, which we're not going to do today. But if that is in your practice, you're always welcome to take that at any point. You may not be ready for it quite yet in your practice or in your progression in yoga. So walking those feet in, really pulling that navel in towards the spine. One more breath here, and then bringing those knees down, sending hips back to heels in child's pose. So that is an inversion, getting that fresh blood to the head. So that can be a lot. So take a moment here to let that resettle here in child's pose before getting up too quickly. We don't want to have a head rush. Take a moment here, really reach that tailbone back, reach the crown of the head forward. And then bringing those hands out here, we'll bring those legs back into that plank. Lower down either knees, chest, chin, or shift forward, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale up into Cobra or upward facing dog. Lower down, and then send those hips to the sky for downward facing dog once again. Bend those knees, look towards the hands. Step or hop to the top of your mat. Allow yourself to hang there for a moment, swaying from side to side. Maybe taking opposite elbows, shaking that head yes and no. And then when you're ready, releasing those arms and slowly rolling up bone by bone. Slower than you want to go here. And when you feel those shoulders come back, you can let those arms rise up. This is the part where my head gets cut off. And then bring those hands down to heart center here, moving into a balanced pose. So we're going to try our eagle pose today. I'll walk you through it. So from here, we start by anchoring that right foot into the earth, bringing this left leg to cross, and you can stay right here, or you could wrap that left foot around the right calf. We'll bring the arms out, sweeping left arm under right, crossing at the elbows. You could take opposite shoulders, or you could twist up those arms further into eagle arms. Squeeze those thighs together, get a little bit lower. Option to bring those hands up towards the sky. You could press those elbows away from the body, noticing that deeper stretch through the shoulder blades. Keep your breath moving. Find a steady gazing point out in the distance. Squeeze those thighs, get a little bit lower. From here, listen to my cues, because we're not just going to release, but we're going to slowly, with control, release those arms, release those legs. See if you can stay in that balanced pose in airplane. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. So bringing those arms back on an angle. So it's not quite warrior three, but I'm tilting that torso, that upper body ahead, keeping that base knee a little bit soft. You can tilt as much as you want here. So focusing on a spot on the earth, your steady gazing point, your drishti, and then gently bring those feet to meet. So you might have even felt some engagement there in the glutes there as we were balancing. We'll take that to the other side now in eagle. So rooting through that left foot, bringing that right knee up, crossing it over. Again, you can stay right here, or you could twist up those legs a little bit more. Bringing the arms out to the sides, sweeping right arm under left, bend at the elbows, opposite shoulders here, or maybe you twist up those arms into eagle arms. You can stay here, getting a little deeper, squeezing those thighs together, or maybe you raise those hands towards the sky, or even press those elbows away, getting that stretch across the upper back. Keep your breath moving. Find that steady gazing point, that drishti. One more breath here, and then we're slowly releasing into that airplane. Again, I'll turn sideways so you can see. I don't normally do that little twist there in our practice, but making that so you can see where we are. So that base leg, the knee can be a little bit soft. Pull that navel into the spine. Find your steady gazing point there on the floor. Reach those arms back, toning the upper back as we have those strong arms. And then we'll bring those hands together. Sweep those arms up to the sky. Take a breath in. And then exhale, fold forward here. Let that go. Let that back release. Let that head hang heavy. Again, maybe you sway back and forth. Letting any negativity, any negative thoughts just drop out of your head. Leave it there on the mat. No need for those for the rest of this practice, or hopefully not today. I'm bringing those feet about hip width apart. I'm actually going to heel toe those feet the width of my mat, and then start to bring my tailbone down to the earth in that deeper squat malasana. If that is not for you today, you can simply take, I shouldn't say simply, this can be quite challenging. You can take a goddess squat, or you can take that deeper squat in malasana. So whatever you've chosen, you might be here, you might be in that goddess squat. Wherever you are, find that tall spine. So again, reach the crown of that head up, root through the tailbone, broaden the collarbones here. Maybe you're using those elbows to press knees open. Your heels do not have to be on the earth. We're all built differently, so ankle flexibility varies greatly. You could place a block under the backside. One more breath here, and then slowly release. We'll bring ourselves down to our bottoms. Stretch those legs out one by one. Maybe give those legs a little shake. Moving into a forward fold. So you might take a strap here. If you'd like to have a strap to go a little bit deeper, you can take a moment to thread it around the balls of the feet. Press through those heels. Take a breath in here, raise the heart to the sky, and then exhale as we move towards those feet. Tucking that chin slightly, so I'm reaching the crown of my head out as I breathe in. Exhaling, melting that heart down towards the legs. You might arrive and notice that, oh, I don't know if I want the strap after all, so you can always put that to the side. But let those hands come to something, whether it's feet, ankles, calves, the floor, a block. And keep reaching through the crown of that head with each breath in, and then melt the heart down. Think about lengthening that spine. One more breath here. And slowly release. Shake out those legs if you wish. I'm going to turn back towards the front. So now I'm bringing my left knee in towards the chest, giving it a little hug here. I'm going to cradle that leg, just rock back and forth, revisiting that hip opener that we took in the beginning. And then placing that foot, maybe it goes across the long leg. If that foot goes flat, maybe you keep it on the same side. So wherever you are, take that same arm as the knee that's to the sky, rotate it around, make that kickstand behind you, hug or hook the other arm, the other elbow around that knee. Find a breath in as you grow tall, And then exhale, twist here. Next round of breath, grow tall once again. Exhale, twist. And release, take that counter turn to the other side, noticing any snap, crackle, pop. Hopefully there's no pain, but you might feel some release in your spine. Come back to center. We'll gently let that leg come back out, give those legs a little shake. Then I'm bringing the other knee into the chest, giving it a hug, and then cradling that leg, rocking back and forth, planting it wherever it would be best on this side. So maybe I can cross it over and that foot goes flat. Maybe it's best on the same side here. So you choose. Opposite arm rotates around, make that second spine behind you. Hug or hook the other elbow around that front knee. Inhale, grow really tall, lengthen that spine. And then exhale, twist from the base of the spine. Take one more round of breath, growing even taller. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And then slowly release, take that counter turn on this side, noticing any release in the spine. And back to center, gently guide that leg back down to the earth. Give those legs a shake. And then we'll fold those feet in, again, gently, gently, bringing the soles of those feet together. You might rock a little bit here. Feet out a little bit farther could make this a little bit easier. You could challenge yourself and really bring those heels in. I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. And then I'm finding a tall spine once again as I breathe in. Exhale, fold over those feet. Rearranging hands to cup the toes. Maybe you're opening those feet up like a book. Or even holding onto the ankles and then possibly gently pressing those knees down with the elbows. Let those knees melt towards the earth. Notice if there's any place you're holding tension or that you find your body is resisting. Breathe into those places. With each breath in, reach that crown of the head forward. Exhale, melt the heart down. And then slowly release. From here, we'll keep the soles of those feet together, but start to walk down onto the back. Let those knees just melt into the earth. Take those hands above the head for a moment, resting one palm on top of the other, mimicking the shape of the knees. Send that lower back into the earth, noticing that core engagement. One more bit of core work here. Rope pulls. So we have that rope between the knees. We're going to inhale here down on the earth and then exhale as we pull ourselves up on that rope. So using your breath, working the lower abdominals. See if you can keep that gaze up towards the sky. So I'm tempted to look towards that rope, whatever I'm pulling towards. But see if you can relax that neck and think about lifting that chest almost straight up to the sky. One more here. Slowly release, bring those arms to a T. Take a breath in with those knees wide. And then exhale, draw that left knee over to the right. Big stretch here, bring those knees all the way together like a book. Inhale, open those knees wide once again. Exhale, right knee comes over to the left. Full spinal twist. Take that at your own pace, back and forth. Inhaling, knees wide. Exhale, draw one knee to the other. And then find yourself back in the center once you've taken that to both sides or evened it out. And I invite you to bring one hand to the belly, the other hand either to the rib cage or the chest, moving into our third and last pranayama. Or maybe we did 4. I've lost track. I usually do at least 3 in each practice. So this is our 3-part complete Dirga breath. So again, one hand on the belly, the other hand either on the rib cage or the chest. Take a big breath in. Notice how that belly rises, then the rib cage expands. And last, the chest goes up. As you exhale, press that air out. Notice the belly goes down, the rib cage closes, and the chest lowers. Inhale, belly ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Keep that moving in 3 parts. You might notice that order differently in your body on the inhale or the exhale. So no matter, we're all different. Just notice 3 parts of your breathing in some way. Keep your focus there. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling completely. Press all that air out. This 3-part complete Dirga breath is good for bringing us into, or preparing us for a deeper state of relaxation. Take 1 more round. And then release those hands. Take any other stretches, movements, postures that you wish. Before we move into our final relaxation pose in Shavasana, maybe you want to rock back and forth, massaging that lower back, maybe taking another twist or happy baby. You choose what you could still use to complete your practice here. And when you are ready, find your final relaxation. Maybe that's legs long. Maybe you keep those knees wide. Maybe the knees are to the sky and you bring them in towards each other and just relax. So find a normal breath here. Release any additional tension that you find in your body. Gently bring your attention back to your space. Find movement in those fingers and toes. Maybe take that full body stretch once again, or bring those knees into the chest. You could rock back and forth. Eventually make your way to one side of your mat. Take a breath there. And then with that top hand, press yourself up to a seated position. I invite you to bring those hands to heart center. Maybe you have your eyes closed. Notice the base of those thumbs touching the chest. Notice the fingers pressing into those on the other hand. No matter where you are on your journey this week, in this year, or in this whole lifetime, I thank you for pausing this morning to share this practice with me. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in each and every one of you. Namaste. And I thank the Milwaukee Recreation Department for helping to bring these classes to you so we can stay connected. Let me know if you have any questions, ideas, suggestions. There is another class coming up tomorrow. Our next class through Milwaukee Rec is Candlelight Yoga, a new time for that class. This week we're starting it at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. So I hope to see you then. I have another cooking class this afternoon. Check out my schedule on my Facebook business page. I thank you. Have a beautiful day.